Enough is enough.
Can you
Can
hear
you
me
hear me
now?
now?
Oh, hey! Jinx.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
Well, I was gonna say you owe me a Baja Blast, but I mean, whatever.
Oh, nice, nice.
All right, buddy. So listen, as it pertains to your style of wrestling, what would you say? Like, how would you describe your style to those who may not have seen you before?
Dumb, probably. Just if you want to see someone just really not care about themselves very much. No, it's more of a reckless style. You have different types of the high flying, high risk style. More of a lucha style, something more fluid and things like that. And then that more westernized lucha style that would be like a Ricochet or an Osprey or something like that. That's just high flying and stuff. And those are all really fluid, and that is not me. And that's super like fluid and clean and good. And then there's like me, who's just like bumbling around, throwing themselves at things. More maybe a Jeff Hardy, Rob Van Dam, reckless abandon type of style.
I like how you said you were bumbling around, throwing yourself into things.
That's pretty much. If you've seen my matches, that's pretty much how it goes.
Well, I think you should give yourself some credit. It does look pretty fluid to those of us who are watching, so give yourself a little bit of something there.
That's all luck, I just. I'm like, what is that, Mr. Magoo or whatever it is? What is it?
Oh my God! Yes, Mr. Magoo. We do, yes.
That's good. Nice. How dare you, Jimmy?
Audio
James. Damn you, James. I think it's definitely different, as most people know. But it's actually a little more similar than I expected. I think it's becoming more similar, with the whole internet introducing the westernized style to them, and a lot of the fans here being fans of things like GCW and watching stuff like that definitely helps sort of bridge the gap as far as cultural differences in the wrestling scene. It's still very heavy on the kayfabe over here. It's still much more like the fans are way different and far more respectful. No offense to my U.S. fans, but they definitely are. Like it's totally a thing. And then maybe it's just a cultural thing in general, not just in wrestling, but everyone is just super respectful and kind of like above and beyond over here, and it's amazing. It's incredible. Of course, being American and speaking like no Japanese at all, it's kind of different for me in the sense of just calling a match and putting it together and stuff like that. But it's been a learning experience in that sense, because you can't rely so much on being able to talk in the ring, So that's been a fun part to me.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be challenging, but definitely a learning experience and something unique for you to go through, and everyone who wrestles over there. Speaking of those opportunities, and can you speak a little bit more on the opportunities that you've had so far, like working with New Japan and GCW, and even like legends in our industry such as Amazing Red?
Oh man, it's all kind of been this wild sort of whirlwind for me. Ever since July 4th that happened, and even like I've said before, like I did a couple flips in the match, whatever, and then I didn't know that they were getting the attention they got until like several hours later. And by the time I even got online and stuff and really took it all in, like everything was different. Like Shima had already said, "Come to Shanghai," and that Shima's who brought me out to Japan, and Will Ospreay had already like retweeted and put it over and stuff like that, and I just did a bit of a dinner with him here since I've been here in Japan, and of course, me and Shima have been tagging across all sorts of different promotions and stuff, and just being a part of Strong Hearts and everything like that. So, tons of opportunities have presented themselves ever since then. And fortunately, I've been able to maintain, because that's always kind of a thing. It's like, oh, I did a flip, now all the eyes are on you. And now it's like, you got to deliver still, which is, definitely harder than it seems, because now there's kind of this expectation of, oh, Alex Zayne's on the show, here comes the crazy shit. It's kind of like, oh great, I have to throw myself at something. But so many, like the New Japan thing, kind of happened in an interesting way. They reached out to me a while back, after everything had kind of taken off, and asked me to do a tryout. And the date that they were doing tryouts, I was actually booked. Even though it was a Monday, it was Joey Janela's GCW curtain call event. And so I was already booked. So I obviously told them, hey, I can do another date. And then it just so happened I was out in LA for GCW during the same weekend as their New Japan event out there. So I reached out to them and said, hey, I'd love to do lunch or something like that, and just meet up while I'm out there. And then they said, hey, how would you like to do the event? And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's, who's going to say no to that, right? And so they put me on the event, and I had no idea what the match was. And a lot of my friends and stuff who knew before anyone else were like, oh, who you wrestling? I was like, oh, I'm not sure. I'll probably wrestle one of the LA Dojo Boys or something, is what I assumed. And then they released the match graphic, and I was like, holy shit, okay. That's how we're doing this. Great. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how that happened. And even then, like TJP and Amazing Red and Aaron Solo, they were like so nice and welcoming and stuff like that, I expected to have a lot more nerves about it than I did, walking into it, because, I'm walking into like independent royalty territory as far as Amazing Red and stuff goes. And, TJP is one of the hottest names under the sun. And so I'm walking into this match like, hey, I was on a backyard event like 3 months ago. How are you doing? And then, yeah, they were just so pro that it was almost less nerve-wracking than a regular indie event. Just in the sense that they were just like taking good care of me and, and everything else. So shout out to them, shout out to TJ and Amazing Red and Aaron, because they definitely killed it and helped me along the way. So I felt like even in that, which I try to every show, I try to learn as much as I can, but I feel like that was definitely another learning experience, just being in there with world-class athletes, Jimmy, how dare you, Jimmy? New shirt. How dare you, Jimmy?
How dare you, Jimmy? Let's get it. Kyle, get on it, buddy.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. There's a couple like quick checks that go through my mind, and they're like, I just kind of pan everything to make sure I'm not going to lose a limb in a fan or something. That's kind of the first thing that crosses my mind. And then after that, I really try to clear my mind except for the thing I'm performing, whatever that is, flip or whatever. So then it's like, a lot of times there's that voice in the back of my head that's like, why the hell did you say you were going to do this? Like, why'd you agree to this? And what are you doing? And especially in the balcony dive on my birthday at the GCW Fright Fest event, I had went up there before the show, looked at it, whatever, and then I got up there like during the match, and I looked down at it, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's a lot higher than I remember it being." And I was like, which I had two different things in mind. It was either the swan dive, like I did, or the spiral tap. But then when I was up there and the fans are going and stuff like that, the ceiling fans, I was like, I don't really want to throw a leg into one of those ceiling fans or anything. So I'm just gonna just keep it simple and do the swan dive. So yeah, I remember just for just like a brief second, you can probably tell it in the video. I look over the railing and I say, "Oh shit." And then I back up and I just send it.
Oh my god.
Good glory. Every time I see you wrestling, I'm like, oh god. So now I know what you're thinking at the same time.
Yeah, we're both in the same boat. We're both in the oh god boat.
Yeah, but it's awesome. It's dope, and you're so cool. You're welcome. So obviously, Tiff and Kyle received multiple questions about a certain particular fast food chain obsession.
Oh,
okay. That you happen to have. I have no idea. Okay, I'm just reading this for the first time. I have no idea what it could be. So, what is this obsession with Taco Bell? And is there a go-to menu item that is your absolute favorite?
Oh man, okay. So the Taco Bell obsession, if that's what you want to call it. Okay, I can quit whenever I want. The whole Taco Bell thing, it actually stems way back to when I was still in the backyard and I was doing the whole backyard thing before I was ever trained or anything like that. I was already just like super into tacos. I don't know why, just I guess born that way. I was just born super into tacos and love tacos. My mom loved tacos. Maybe that's where I get it from. And so everything was always Taco Bell anyway. Like back in the day, I even had like the Taco Bell logo shaved in the back of my head and stuff. And then so everything was like super taco this, taco that. And then I was doing the backyard thing anyway. And I had created a move and onto my little brother on a trampoline. Shout out to my little brother and his neck, because that's where I invented the taco driver. And I made it the taco driver just because I was into tacos, and that was probably I don't know, 04, 05 maybe. And then so started using that, and then everything just kind of stemmed from that. Then the spiral tap became the cinnamon twist, and the flipping sidewalk slam was the Baja Blast, and all sorts of shooting star double knees, the crunch wrap. And so there's tons of Taco Bell references throughout my matches, and people ask me, "Oh, what's with the Taco Bell obsession?" I have no idea what's with it. I just really like Taco Bell, I guess. And then I think the funny thing was too, it wasn't as heavily ingrained into my wrestling or whatever until after I'd taken some time off for wrestling, and that's when I started going to the gym. But of course, I didn't stop. Like taking time off from wrestling did not equal taking time off from Taco Bell, so I was still doing the whole Taco Bell thing religiously. And that was the other thing too, is I worked out late every night, so that's kind of the only thing open that isn't complete garbage. As far as, it's 3 a.m. I just got out of the gym. What am I grabbing on the way home? It's kind of Taco Bell or McDonald's. So Taco Bell's the way, and then it became a thing on my Instagram where I was just hashtagging Body by Taco Bell all the time, because it would be my gym selfie and then me eating Taco Bell. That was pretty much my entire Instagram, was just gym selfie, Taco Bell, gym selfie, Taco Bell. So... which it hasn't changed much at all. Now it's like gym selfie, wrestling match, Taco Bell, and just repeat the loop.
That's awesome.
So that's where Body by Taco Bell came, and then it kind of stuck after that to where other people were, instead of just being like, okay, there's Alex eating Taco Bell again. It was a thing. So now it's a thing.
Oh, it's a thing.
And there's a shirt. So
It's a shirt. It is a shirt.
yeah, me and Kyle were looking yesterday, and he was like, "I gotta buy this shirt." So, so you might actually have another fan on you, Jimmy. I guess I'm gonna have to buy you that for Christmas or something. Like,
Hell yeah! Everyone needs that for Christmas.
yes. Our guys in the chat, because like I know somebody was like, I'm low. Do I sound better now? I like raised the volume on it. So I'm so sorry. Like Kyle usually runs the channel. So this is the first that I'm actually running the channel. So let me know in the chat if I have to change something. So I'm gonna
Yeah, my low. I might be low. I don't know.
Okay, they said I'm good. Okay, good. Thank God. I'm so sorry. Like everything just like going wrong today.
Poor Tiff.
I'm so sorry.
It's good. It's good.
We got
It's
you,
a learning
girl.
experience.
Exactly. Oh, all right. So we also received multiple questions about certain. Oh no, we got. Oh, so stay on the food top. Sorry, fan question from
Okay.
Everything
Okay.
Pro Wrestling. That's what it was. So he wants to know, what is your favorite cheat meal?
And my favorite cheat meal. And I also didn't cover the favorite Taco Bell
Oh yes.
item. So I think and a lot of people don't know this about me. I am naturally a very, very skinny individual. And I was able to tack on muscle by eating my body weight in Taco Bell on a nightly basis and working out like 5-6 times a week when I first started. And so for me, every meal is a cheat meal. Like, I don't diet. And a lot of people are like, oh, what's your diet like? I want to have abs or whatever. And I'm like, beats me, dude. Taco Bell. And just like last night, I went to the 7-Eleven down the street and just bought like an unnecessary amount of pastries. And just ate sweet treats all night and watched movies and downloaded a bunch of my matches so I could turn them into music video content. So that's what I did, and that's kind of my cheat meal in general. My favorite go-to Taco Bell item they actually removed, which was the double XL grilled stuffed burrito steak. And they removed that from the menu. They just did a whole menu cleanup, and they removed that, and they removed another favorite of mine, which is a double decker. So how dare you remove the double decker? Because so I'm waiting until the inevitable Taco Bell sponsorship, and that's when I'm going to bring up a lot of my grievances and just air it out.
That's a great idea.
Look, guys, I'll take the sponsor, but only if you bring back the double decker and the grilled stuffed burrito.
Yeah, I mean, they have a Taco Bell hotel.
Right, and
which is crazy. So I feel like obviously you need to be there.
I definitely need to be there. That's definitely on the bucket list, just to stay at the Taco Bell hotel.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Now. I need some Taco Bell. Luckily, I have a Taco Bell up the block from my house. So
luckily for you, I'm in Japan, and the only Taco Bell for me is like 25-minute train ride. That I'm not gonna do it.
It's not commitment.
I'm still gonna do
then.
it.
It's not commitment.
Right. And it also closes like at a normal like time, unlike most Taco Bells, So it's not the old faithful. So, and they also have like way less stuff on the menu. I know a lot of people are like, they've asked me on Twitter and stuff like that about the whole Taco Bell in Japan experience. They have less stuff on the menu. They're not open as late. It's still good. Maybe even better for you in a way, since they have like less processed foods in their thing out here in Japan, like regulation style. So it might even be better for you. But yeah, it's still Taco Bell. It's still it's still my first love. So yeah, favorite cheat meal. I have no idea. Every meal's a cheat meal. Taco Bell is my favorite. My favorite, like when I just kind of am like, you know what, I'm I'm gonna eat today. I'm gonna go hard today. I go to this local Indian joint in Lexington, my hometown, and that's Lexington, Kentucky, for anyone who is wondering. And I go to an Indian joint called Taj India, and me and my girlfriend go there and eat until we're in pain, and then we take home the leftovers. And a couple hours later, we eat until we're in pain again. So.
Glutton for punishment.
Yeah, it's delightful.
But of course, it's the best kind because it's delicious food.
I think we all
Death
do
by
it.
Indian food, absolutely.
I think we all do it, even just in general. It's like, but it's just so good. One more bite. One more bite.
Exactly. The best.
Well, because we just can't get off this food topic, a friend of the No Holds Barred Network, Moose, asked, "What's your favorite type of cereal?" Now, this answer, my friend, is gonna make or break our friendship.
Oh.
So I need to know.
My favorite cereal is, without a doubt, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh yes,
Ooh.
best friends. Yes.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is it's just top shelf cereal right there. You got it all.
Yes.
So yeah, cereal. I like cereal. I don't eat enough cereal. Now that we're talking about it, I need to step my cereal game up.
There you go.
I'm not much of a morning person, and then when you wake up at noon or 2 or whatever it is that you typically wake up as a guy like me, cereal isn't the first thing on your mind a lot of times. I don't know. I'm weird too. I don't really like milk and stuff when it's hot, when the weather's hot. So if I miss the morning, that kind of cool period in the day, then I kind of just don't want to drink or eat a milk thing unless it's ice cream, because there's always time for ice cream.
Absolutely. Chocolate chip all the way. I'm just saying.
Chocolate chip ice cream.
Yes.
That's your jam.
That's my jam.
Nice. I like Rocky Road. I'm a Rocky Road guy.
Ooh, Queen, where are you?
Oh, you guys, this is depressing. I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh
Okay,
no.
we'll eat
Yes,
enough for you.
yes.
We'll eat enough
But-
for
You
you.
are just rubbing your nose in it.
I know, but it's okay because when I do venture into the ice cream world and take the lactose pills so I can have it, it's all about coffee ice cream. I
Coffee
have to
ice
have
cream.
Yes.
Nice.
Hell
Hell yeah.
yeah.
My God, you're gonna gain 20 pounds after this podcast because I'm
Seriously,
going out
I'm
to go
starving.
I
need some
that's pretty much
lights.
Yeah.
that's my girlfriend. She's like, I can't be around you. You eat too much. That's all I do is just eat.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Especially when you're not gaining any weight. I hate that. It's just I just look at food and I gain 5 pounds and it's you're so skinny and it's why?
I have to if, for example, if I'm I was in Japan, and for the first week I'm just kind of figuring everything out and figuring out how to move and function out here in my own fashion, and just with the schedule and stuff like that, I definitely wasn't eating nearly as much as I typically would, and I was just losing weight, just because it's hard for me, just metabolism wise, it's kind of hard for me to outrun it. And so especially if I'm not supplementing with protein drinks and stuff like that, then my gains go right out the window real quick. So it's been kind of a struggle too, because their style of foods and stuff like that aren't as, I don't know, just not as dense. So just going to 7-Eleven and grabbing a bunch of corn dogs and stuff like that. It's kind of, which the corn dogs at Japanese 7-Elevens are amazing. Shout out to Michael Elgin. He's the person who told me I had to try one. I asked everyone before I came out here. If you can't tell, I'm super into the whole food thing. And I asked everyone who had been, TJP and Lance Archer and Michael Elgin and all sorts of people. I was like, hey, when I go to Japan, what should I eat? What's your go-to food out here? And Michael Elgin was like, all right, this is going to sound weird, but you have to have a 7-Eleven corn dog. So that's what I did. I actually put that on Twitter and on my Instagram story last night, because they have this awesome condiments package. Did you guys see that?
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
my God,
jealous. We need that here.
right? They are just innovative as all hell out here. Like I was walking through the store the other day, and it was like this super eclectic like shop with just like everything imaginable in it. And in it, they had this little like ball type thing, probably the size of like a tennis ball. It looked like, right? But it screws onto the top of a water bottle, and then it becomes a humidifier. And I was like, what is that even? Like they're just out here, and, right? I'm in the future. It's amazing.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm just so maybe Japan is like actually in the future. Like when you travel here,
Mhm.
you know, you go 14 hours forward anyway, time wise. But like I said on Twitter, like maybe it's 50 years and 14 hours forward. And you're going through like a time warp.
Oh wow.
And people here, you know, and you get here and you just eat a bunch of entire small sea urchin type creatures. That's a thing we do in the future,
Boy.
evidently.
Oh boy.
Because yeah, they eat a bunch of like dried up. Like I was in that same store, and not that it was right next to the water humidifier or anything, but then they had like this little bag of tiny little soft shell crabs, and they were just like dried thing. I guess you just eat them whole. I don't know how you eat them. I was tempted, but I had no idea how to eat them, or I would have gotten them just to film myself eating something weird again.
Oh boy.
Because that's what I do.
I'd be stressed out.
Yeah.
I'd be like, but what do I do?
I'd probably lose a lot of weight because I probably wouldn't want to eat anything.
I mean, there's plenty here to eat. There's a lot of like really good stuff. Like there's a place that all the boys told me about too. They're like, oh, when you get there, you got to eat pepper lunch. Pepper lunch is awesome, and it's really good. And it's like this whole gimmick where they bring out. Okay, you all had fajitas, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. So they, you know how they bring it out on kind of like the still scalding skillet.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they bring out whatever it is that you order on a skillet similar to that, but it's like a lot hotter. Like it's not just like kind of sizzling and smoking. It's actually still cooking, and your meat or whatever your meal is only browned on the bottom side. It's still raw on top. So you have to complete the rest of the cooking yourself. Yeah, it's awesome, and you gotta have like a limited amount of time because it is actively cooling down as you're cooking it on that little skillet thing. So you kind of you gotta be quick and
Wow.
sear your meats.
Ooh.
Things you learn speaking with Alex
Yeah.
Zayne.
Pretty much only things about food.
Fabulous.
This reminded me a little bit of like when you go to Korean barbecue a little bit and like you're cooking it in front of you a little bit, but
Yeah. It's a lot like that, except it's like
worse.
the personal pan pizza version of Korean barbecue.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
I'm starving to death. I don't know if you can tell.
Bye,
but
guys. I'm going to go get Taco
We should have
Bell.
made snacks.
Yes.
What's going on?
We should have got like Taco Bell in front of us and eat it
Absolutely.
on the podcast. Oh my God. All right, we'll get off.
I'm always scared to get like caught snacking on a podcast. Like, oh, sorry about that sound of the bag of chips in the background or something.
Or it's like even worse when like you're showing the video and then if like you're eating chips or like I've seen those people like that like with they're chewing like a cow and it's like I don't need to see this right now, okay? Like, I'm sorry.
I can be a pretty discreet eater when I want to be. I've had to, being the food guy that I am, I've had to sneak my fair share of food and keep from waking people. Oftentimes, just like girlfriends and stuff sleeping in the same room, you don't want to wake them up because then they want some. They want some of the sleeve of Oreos, and you're not getting the sleeve of Oreos. This is for me, okay?
The stealth is real.
Oh, that's great because it's so true. Okay, let's get off the food topic so we don't have to all be hungry over here. Okay, so 2020 around the corner. What are some of your resolutions, and is there maybe like a bucket list of stuff on it that you want to accomplish in 2020?
Oh man. There's so many different things that I want to do in 2020, both within wrestling and just my day to day life. Um, Tons of bucket list things. You mentioned one earlier. I'm not sure if it'll happen in 2020. I know they're real booked up, but the whole Taco Bell hotel thing,
Mm-hmm.
definitely want to do that. There's another Airbnb thing I want to do, which is which I haven't looked further into it to see if it's even available or whatever yet, but I know that it was originally supposed to be Diamond Dallas Page, the accountability crib that he has in the Jake the Snake, Resurrection of Jake the Snake's documentary. He was at one time talking about like Airbnb-ing that out and kind of having like themed rooms, like a Jake the Snake room and a Razor Ramon room and stuff like that. So that's another thing that I don't know if people knew about that, but now you know. Hey, don't go book it up because I'm trying to get in there. Okay, but do. So there's that, and then those are just like small little bucket list things, silly things. Like I have like weird Alex Zayne thing. Like I want to buy a telescope. That's a thing I want to do. But then in the wrestling world, a lot of things as far as like, oh, I want to work here and I want to go here and I want to do this and that. I don't really put out there too much because I think there's certain overlap. And sometimes if you do one thing, it means you can't do other things. Just an example, like if you sign somewhere, maybe you can't do certain other appearances and things like that. So then if I put them out there, like, oh, I want to do this and that, and then it's like, oh, I signed this contract. Oh, you said you wanted to do this and that. You're an idiot. Yeah, well. Well, thanks, Twitter. I didn't know that already. But I mean, I have tons of goals. Actually, this past year, and I actually forgot about it. 2019, we made it just in time. A friend of mine and I were talking at the beginning of the year, and he just reminded me of this right before I left. He was like, "Do you remember we having this conversation?" And I was like, "Hey, when do you think you'll go to Japan?" And I said, "Oh, by the end of the year." And this is before anything went viral.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and but at the time, like we were just in the beginning stages, which I've told this story before, but we were just in the beginning stages of me kind of quitting everything else in life and just focusing on wrestling, which I did in April. And just going full bore on wrestling and trying my hardest. And fortunately, it worked out and panned out probably quicker and better than I would have expected. But we're having a conversation. Like I said, he asked when I thought I would go to Japan, and that was probably back in April or May. And I told him by the end of this year, and I didn't even remember saying that. I was probably just talking shit, just saying, like, oh, when are you going to go to Japan? Well, here's the goal. And that was one of the things, too, is little goals like that. I don't even, not that that's a small goal, but I don't even, like, mention them to people. They're all, they're just tucked away in my little Hello Kitty notebook or something. So.
Hello Kitty. It's fabulous.
Oh, man.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
you see me in the airport, and they're like, "Oh, shit, is that like real crazy, wild wrestler guy?" No, it can't be. He's writing in a Hello Kitty notebook. Can't be him.
I think it just makes you cooler, but that's because I love Hello Kitty.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever.
Then you would love Japan because they are all about some Hello Kitty
Oh,
over
man.
here.
If I could stand the plane ride, I'd go someday, but I don't know.
Yeah, I I
Well,
got
it's worth it.
anxiety going to Chicago a couple of months ago
Yeah,
for a
seriously.
2-hour flight, and I was getting anxiety. Oh man, I'll just live, through you and everybody else that's going to Japan.
All right, I'll make sure to put up a bunch of Hello Kitty stuff then.
Awesome.
Yeah.
yes, definitely. By the way, Dotila says in the chat she wants tacos now, and it's Tuesday, so you know what that means.
Yes.
It's going out
Yes.
right now. Yes, girl. Go get it.
Absolutely. Maybe I'll go to Taco Bell. Maybe I'll make the train ride
See?
tonight.
It's only 25 minutes. It's okay. It's doable. So-
It is. Well, it's a 25-minute train ride on top of like a half-mile walk and then another half. I don't know. It's like 2 miles of walk, all of it combined, and 25-minute train ride, which I'm not opposed to. But
It is a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of work.
I don't know. You might have to call Fat Ass Maza, maybe. I don't know.
yes.
Delivery.
Yes.
Do you deliver here? Do you have Uber out here or like
DoorDash.
Absolutely.
DoorDash or something? Like
That's right.
By the time they drive me those tacos, they're just like soggy.
Oh.
Yeah. It won't be good. Yeah, no. It won't be a good situation.
I am definitely like when it comes to Taco Bell, I don't know if everyone does this, but I determine like if I'm driving through, right? Okay, I'm driving through. How long before I'm getting to the house? If it's over like 10, maybe 15 minutes, I'm not ordering anything crunchy shell because it's going to be trash by the time I get it to the house. So, word to the wise, if you're driving through, kind of have a mental idea of when you're going to get to your destination and be able to eat, and don't order the crunchy, especially the Locos. We're back on the food topic again. You know what?
It didn't take much. It's all
But here
good.
we are. Yeah, that's all. I'll leave it at that. Don't order the crunchy stuff if you got a 15-minute drive or longer, right? Especially Doritos Locos. They get soggy quicker.
Oh my
Oh
god.
man, the more you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're talking to a professional, okay?
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm taking your word for it. I totally believe you.
Oh god.
So there's a fan question from Kyle at Kyle's Prescott. He asked 2 things. What is your number 1 wrestling dream match? And what has been your favorite match of your own career thus far?
Ooh.
Number 1 wrestling dream match. Probably wrestling John Cena. That's who I want to wrestle. Like number 1 wrestling dream match. And I think, a lot of people are like, what the hell, John Cena? He doesn't even do a flip. Well, I've seen him do a Hurricane Rana before, so. But I think the reason is it's like things like that. I like all encompassing sorts of goals. Like if I'm wrestling John Cena in any capacity, then a lot of other things had to kind of fall into place in order for that to happen.
Sure.
Right. So yeah. Either that and then Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is kind of more probably the idea of like what people would expect on my list. Number 1 wrestling dream match, John Cena and Jeff Hardy. That's who I'm going with.
I like that.
Great choices.
Yeah, I like that.
And of your own career thus far? Your favorite?
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. Sorry, CTE.
You're fine.
Bumped my head a lot. But probably, I mean, it's hard not to say the backyard match with Tony Deppen.
Yeah.
Right? That's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard not to say that. It's probably that one. Like, a couple of honorable mentions would probably be me versus Rich Swann on my birthday with the whole swan dive off the gimmick. That's another one. And then probably the tag match with Solo and Amazing Red and TJP and New Japan debut. And that's, they're for different reasons. And, but those are my top 3 right now.
amazing matches. These were like matches that made me find you. My best friend Brad, he was the one that kind of got me really big into indie wrestling, and we were actually just talking about you last week, and we were talking about the match with you and Tony Deppen. So
Nice. Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you, Brad.
Yes. So I've definitely become a fan. He has like introduced me. Like I have become like the indie queen, as everybody's been calling me, because I've been going to a lot of
Nice.
indie shows, like a lot. I remember I put a tweet out that I was like, my bucket, like my fantasy booking would be you, Chris Bay, and then Anthony Gangone. That would be my triple threat right there that I would like go nuts on. Anthony Gangone is
I've
my
I've
born husband. I love
I
him so
have
much.
not. I have not seen much of Anthony's work, actually. I know of him, but I have not seen a whole lot of his work. What should I check out? Like,
Oh,
if there's a match of his, I should check out. Which one is it?
him and Amazing Red in the no ropes match at House
The
of
no
Glory.
ropes match.
Yes,
Where was that?
House of Glory.
Oh, nice. Okay, I will
So
check that out.
I
That
love that
sounds
match.
wild.
Yeah, I love that match. So that's definitely one of my
I'm
favorites.
definitely checking it
But
out.
I go to so many shows. I follow him around, around on the East Coast a lot. So I just see
I thought
him.
you just meant like in general, like you're hiding your voices.
She's got a spy cam. Yeah.
Anthony's like, come on, come on. What are you
Actually, he would
doing?
all joke
Get out of
around
here.
with me and say that I actually do that. No, but no. No, but he's amazing. So like, actually, me and Queen were just watching him at Synergy Wrestling this Friday.
We
Actually,
were.
so
Awesome.
yeah, I was there.
Hell
It was
yeah.
pretty good. But I love that match. But he's got so many amazing matches. But so let's kind of elaborate from one of the last questions. What is one wrestler, dead or alive, that you would love to wrestle as a dream match?
Hayabusa.
Ooh.
Very good.
Yeah. Hayabusa is like, I wear like tabby boots, so I don't know if you've noticed. Some people notice the weird shoes I wear. They're called tabby boots, but they're like the split toe, just like this. The big toe is segregated from the rest of the foot.
Mhm.
And yeah, I wear those as just because like I'm a huge Hayabusa fan. They're also like really good for balance, and there's a reason they're used in like kung fu fighting. But I have no actual skills in the world, so I wear them because Hayabusa wear.
Yeah, that's
um,
dope.
yeah, Hayabusa is one of my all-time favorites, and yeah, that'd be my go-to, dead or alive, Hayabusa for sure.
So, Tiff, this is all you, buddy.
All
So you
right,
gotta,
all right. So I'll do that, and you can take the next one, because this is
yeah, you gotta ask this.
I gotta ask this, because this is my infamous question that every time that we have a wrestler come on for an interview, I ask this question because it's just funny. Okay,
Oh,
so what has been the craziest thing a fan has done to get your attention inside or outside of the ring?
the craziest thing they've done to get my attention inside or out of the ring. Huh.
We've had some interesting
um,
stories, so.
I don't think I have that many crazy fan stories yet, which is kind of good, but I'm kind of offended at the same time. Like, we got to step up the crazy out here, guys. I mostly have like really awesome things happen, like some girls in LA have brought me a bunch of the Taco Bell sauce flavored chips.
Oh wow.
You know, have you seen these?
Mhm.
Yeah, I got those, and then a gal brought me a gift card to Taco Bell. That was
Aw.
awesome. Yeah. So shout out to Wendy. She brought me a gift card to Taco Bell, and
Was it the Wendy?
no,
like
it wasn't
Wendy's?
like this. It was not the Wendy's.
Could you imagine? That would be awesome.
If anything, the Wendy would roast me on Twitter for being
Right.
Taco Bell. You know, so. But yeah, and a Taco Bell T-shirt. Yeah, I was wearing that yesterday in my like Instagram stories and stuff. But yeah, Taco Bell T-shirt. So like yeah, I get like awesome things, and then here, like they brought me some Japanese teas, like tea bags, herbal teas and stuff. That was awesome, and like some sort of like pasta snack. It's almost more like a potato chip. We're back on the food thing. I don't know if you noticed, but we're just
It's a
keeping
theme.
roundabout. Yeah, we're on a never-ending rotisserie since it's food. I was gonna say carousel, but it's a rotisserie. Just going round and round. So, but
We actually had a a referee come on that we interviewed, and he told us a story how a fan threw an entire pie of pizza into the ring at him. So
that is the best. I gotta get to the point where people are throwing me Taco Bell.
Okay, so when you come to New York or Connecticut, New Jersey, and me and Queen are gonna come,
Yes.
we're gonna throw some hot sauce into the ring instead of streamers for you.
Absolutely. Do it.
I mean, listen, you need some Taco Bell sauce and a Baja Blast after a match. What else do you want in your life? You know?
I have like a ridiculous amount of Taco Bell variety of sauce packets in a drawer at my house. I have a drawer full of Taco Bell sauce packets.
Do you know that people sell those like on eBay and other places, and they like make an enormous amount of money? It's unbelievable.
They do, and I may or may not be a buyer.
There you
Just
go.
Perusing eBay, just where are the hot sauce packets? I need to add them to my drawer full of hot sauce.
Oh my.
So, are there any crazy spots in your career so far that you can't believe that you walked away from? This was a fan question from Dave at Good Guy Dave.
Oh man, shout out to Dave. Oh, he's a good guy, that Dave. Like I try to clear my mind before any of my wild spots for just like a split second of like, all right, don't think about it. Just do what you came to do. You know how to do what you're about to do, kind of. So just do it. So for the most part, I don't like really let much fear creep in. Most of the ones that I'm like, whoa, that's a thing, are like botches, so to speak. Like for example, this past show in LA for Slime Language, it was a scramble, and in that scramble there was a spot with me and Jordan Oliver, and we were discussing beforehand, and he's like, yeah, I think I can do a Spanish fly on the apron where the person taking the Spanish fly takes an apron bump, and Jordan Oliver proceeds to go to the floor, kind of on his feet, just takes a spill to the floor. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. And he's like, are you sure? You know? And he's like, and we kind of get a feel for it a couple times on the apron, and felt fine. And then we went out there and did it, and I missed the apron entirely. I think it was just like a combination of everything, but his body weight too, where I grabbed him, and as you do when you're wrestling, you're protecting the person performing the move as well, and I'm making sure that we're getting the rotation and stuff like that. And that's just where my mind was in the body mechanics of the rotation and stuff like that. And it wasn't so much in the idea of the apron. And I just missed the apron completely and went to the floor. And people are like, "Why did you take a Spanish fly off the apron to the floor, you idiot?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that wasn't what I was trying to do at all." So. But also hit my head on this. There's like an underbar, like a second bar of the apron, and I cracked my head on it. Which those bars, I've hit my head on those bars twice, and both times there's the most resonating, like reverbing, like bing, goes through your head for so long that you can't even hear anything. Like. It's kind of like a flashbang. Have you ever played like Call of Duty and you throw flashbang? Mm-hmm. You probably haven't. Okay, maybe. Okay, great. I'm old, so like, like people. I don't play a lot of video games, and when I do, I just get flashbanged a lot. But yeah, it's like totally disorienting or whatever. And like Blake Christian jumps down and he's like looking me in my face and I can see his lips moving. He's saying something to me and I'm just like wide eyed looking at him like, can't hear you, bud. um, so that was one where I was like kind of checking my whole body to make sure I was okay. And I was so like out of it and like loopy from it. That if you watch it, I haven't even watched it play back, but if you're watching it, you can see me. I start to stand up like right after it because it's time to catch a dive, and they're about to do like a middle rope moonsault from the corner to the outside, and we're gonna catch a dive. So I start to get up, and Jordan Oliver's like, "No, stay down," because he thinks I'm like fucked up, which to an extent I am, but I'm all right. And I'm just kind of like knocked out of it or whatever. And so he's like, "No, stay down." And he kind of gives me like a push, like not a hard push or anything like that. But I'm so out of it that I just fall.
Oh,
but as but as I'm falling, I remember like still because I'm just like disoriented. I remember still like reaching my hand out as I'm falling, trying to catch the other diver, and I'm like 6 feet away from him, nowhere near him or whatever. And I'm just like, "Oh no, he's diving!" as I fall to the ground. And then the next dive is happening, and it's Eli Everfly, and he's doing some sort of twisty boy gimmick. I don't remember what he was doing because I didn't watch it happen. Because I start to stand up, and now I'm actually to my feet, but I'm all wobbly and shit. And Blake Christian kind of had his like hand on me, and I know the dive's about to happen, so I'm trying to get into position, but I can't like regain enough consciousness really to like stand up and catch the dive. So I just like stay bent over and I'm just like, I'll just let him land on me. I'm fine. I'm just good right here. This is fine.
Oh wow.
And it's funny, like when you're that like out of it, it's kind of just like this 6-year-old you inside of your head. And it's just like, oh, this is okay. You're all right. Good. Like that's how it sounds. Your voice in your head becomes that instead of like being concerned or worried or anything like that. It's just like everything's fine. You're fine. Yeah. So that was me. So if you watch that footage back and you see me for the next minute and a half or so after taking the gimmick to the floor, you see me just fumbling around, throwing my body into things like I do.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my god.
There've been several of those, but that's a memorable one since it was so recent.
Oh wow.
As far as other things, as far as walked away from, this is just a notable one. I did an Impact, like I did a thing for Impact that they were doing in Chicago before the Bound for Glory pay-per-view, and I was in a 3-way with Mark Wheeler and Blake Christian, and I did a dive off of a balcony there and did the spiral tap. And I landed on my feet. Totally didn't expect to land on my feet, and literally walked away from it and was like, and in the moment it looks like, oh yeah, look at all this sauce I got. No, inside I was like, holy shit, okay, all right, here we are. So that's literally walking away from something I couldn't believe I walked away from.
Oof. Yeah, some of them like even like when I go to some of these indie shows, I'm like, and then you see like stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, I went to an ICW show and it was a death match, and I mean, me and Queen, we love death matches, but some of the things, like,
oh man,
we get a little nervous, and
absolutely.
Danny Tomato said to me, he goes, "You were a little worried there." He like pat me on the head. "You were a little worried there." I was like, "Yeah, I was a little worried for them." I was like,
Yes, we're always a little concerned.
we're still females. We're still gonna have that instinct, like, oof, like, ow. We're gonna feel bad for you. So, but I mean, we love it, but like, we're still gonna we're gonna worry for you guys. Like,
absolutely.
So we've seen.
We need more of that probably.
Yes,
it would keep us
we need more.
safer, maybe.
Well, I'm
probably
definitely here. I'll come check. I'll bring tacos.
Yes. Yes.
So we've seen this past year that you've grown so much in popularity in the wrestling community. Do you feel any kind of pressure when it comes to this, or like has it affected your life in any way?
I mean, it's changed my life really. I mean, I went from just weekend warrior type of hobbyist of wrestling to saying, okay, screw it, I'm just going to push it and pursue it full time, to then the popularity increase, which has made it possible for me to do it as a full time gig, and now traveling the world from it. So yeah, pressure though. I think at first I felt a lot more pressure in the sense of, okay, you went sort of viral, whatever, from doing a flip, but now people want to see like actual good matches. Like a lot of people who had seen that clip and stuff like that are like, okay, this is who Alex Zayne is. Wow, he did a flip, cool, whatever. I'm gonna maybe watch his next match or something. Okay, well, the next match and the match after that and the match after that and forever better deliver. So I think at first that was kind of the pressure, because it was like, you could do a flip, but can you wrestle type of thing, so there was kind of the pressure of that. But even that, now that people have kind of accepted me with open arms, shout out to the wrestling community, very welcoming group of people. But yeah, that's kind of gone away now, I guess. I mean, there's always that sort of pressure of having a good match anyway, because that's always the goal, is to perform well and up to your own standards. And I mean, on a show-to-show basis, there's definitely shows where I'm like, it was funny, I had a match or whatever, and I didn't feel great about it or whatever, and my friend Mike, he was like, you got a standing ovation for that match and you're like bummed about it. But that's the thing about, like, you have your own self-inflicted pressures of, and expectations of how you should perform, and when you don't live up to that standard, then so that, I guess that's kind of the whole thing. Is there's not a whole lot of pressure now, even though there's more pressure from other things. Just, I mean, the bookings are getting bigger and better, and there's a lot more eyes, and I'm gonna psych myself out now. Here we go.
No, don't do that. You good. It's
I'm
cool.
gonna have to go
It's cool
stress
to
eat
see,
a bunch
though.
of tacos.
Yeah, I mean, just eat a bunch of tacos and you'll be fine.
Exactly.
No, but it's been cool to see, though, to watch everybody kind of catching on and to you, and just from my perspective as a little old me over here, it's awesome.
It's been wild, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We just love the indies.
I know, right?
Oof. I love the indies. And like, I talk about it all the time that I'm a little selfish, because it's like I don't want a lot of the indie guys to get picked up, because I like going to a lot of the indie shows, that I'm like, damn, I was like, if they get picked up, I was like, then then I'm like not gonna have that personal touch with like a lot of them, and speaking with a lot. But I mean, I always tell everybody, I was like, you have to check out the indie scene, and this is why we started doing Under the Ropes, because a lot of people might not be familiar with you, and like the good thing is having to see this interview with you, then they're like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna go check him out. So
thank you for your work, because I think that's one that's something that we need more of. Obviously, is just awareness and everything else on the indie scene, which obviously it's growing. Like, the indie scene now compared to when I first started on the independents in 2005 has changed drastically, of course, but in a good way, and like everyone is like has much easier access and stuff like that, and it's much easier to get a hold of. You have all these different networks and things like that, and then of course just the internet in general. But even for the selfish ones like you, just a little word. For those of us who do get picked up and stuff like that, the cool thing about it is, they get picked up and they go to these bigger companies, WB, AEW, Impact, whatever it is, and when that happens, it opens up other spots on these indie cards for other people who wouldn't have otherwise gotten the time to shine. And I think in a way with AEW pulling up a lot of the talent and WWE pulling up a lot of talent all at the same time. Back earlier this year, I think that not that it was necessarily the reason that I got put on the backyard show or anything like that, but I think in general, it opened a lot of doors for me because there was a lot of spots on these cards that otherwise would have been full. And a lot of them were like, hey, we need somebody to jump off of stuff because our guy that jumps off of stuff just went to whatever other company. So, so I was able to slide a resume in like, hey, I jump off stuff, okay? I'm doing an all right job at that. So yeah, not that I don't understand. You don't want people to that's another thing too, is a lot of people don't want to see talents that they're super into get picked up by a company and get kind of like misused or rebranded in a way that, isn't awesome.
Yeah.
Or what we're used
Because we see that all the
seeing.
time. People get
Yeah.
rebranded and whatever, and it's like, bummer.
Yeah, or like what we're used to seeing, like I guess John Moxley, I guess is your perfect example of how
Mhm.
the back era was CZW, and then going to WWE, and then it's like completely different, and like the AEW is a little bit like how he was back then in the Indies. So
Yeah.
I'm
And
loving that.
yeah, it's a little more freedom and stuff like that. And I heard his podcast. I think he was doing the Jericho podcast. I think is
Yeah.
the one I heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and talking about just kind of airing it all out as far as like his likes and dislikes of working with WWE and now being with AEW and what he can do and stuff and the freedoms and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I think in a way too, WWE, it's hard in my position to say too much because you can shoot yourself in the foot real quick. But in a way, I think they're figuring it out as far as that balance between this sort of indie, more free vibe and then this more giant titan of industry sort of vibe that they got. And I think they're doing that with the NXT brand. And NXT, they have a lot of awesome matches and a lot of like really over characters and wrestlers and stuff like that. So they're definitely doing something right.
Yeah, for sure. A last fan question for you from Jay Bradbury at JNXT Fan. Speaking of NXT, there you go. He asks, are there any new songs coming out soon?
Oh man. So I don't even know if you all knew this, but I did music for a long time. And I still do music, but obviously less because I'm busy. But yeah, there are a lot of new songs coming out. I have 2 music videos already recorded, kind of sitting and waiting to be edited. I don't even remember the count of how many songs that I have ready to be released, and just kind of working out the details on when and how I want to do that. Because that was another thing too. I didn't want to like release these music videos and things like that and then kind of be dormant, afterward. Like I kind of wanted to get past that stage of being too busy to do anything with music, and then release what I have in my back pocket, and that way I can kind of keep up with the momentum after that. So that's why nothing's been released as of recent. But yeah, lots of new stuff coming out, which is exciting too, because a lot of people who are new to me in general through wrestling and stuff like that have still no idea that I ever did music. So they're just going to see this music video or whatever pop up and they're like, what the hell is happening? This isn't a taco. What's he posting about?
If there isn't a song about tacos, are you even doing it right?
Yes.
That's right.
You need to make it happen.
I will.
Wear
I will
Hello
make
Kitty
that
shirt.
happen.
I'm excited for your music. That's dope. That's
Yes.
gonna be cool.
Yes, we're
Thank you,
definitely
thank you.
gonna be.
Yeah, hopefully, who knows? Maybe when I release it, that opinion will change, and you're like, "What is he doing?
I'd be
This
like,
guy."
listen, what is that? No, I'm kidding.
Listen, Bucko, what are you thinking?
There better be a song called Taco in the future, okay?
Just taco, absolutely.
um, so this interview has been amazing. So we're gonna finish off
Thank
with
you.
one final question.
All
To
right.
all inspiring amateur wrestlers out there, what is some advice you would give them?
Oh man, so all my boys on the indies. I think there's different advice for each different people, but general advice, and if the shoe fits, wear it. Right. Train your ass off, both in a wrestling sense and in a physical sense of get in shape. Like I think especially on the indies, there's like a lot of and I'm not saying it can't be done. Obviously, I'm not saying you can't not have a like good physique or whatever and get booked or whatever. It's not like you have to have a body by Taco Bell. I get it. Okay. But at the same time, it does increase your odds and chances of being looked at twice and being taken seriously, etc. So, and even if it's not in great physical condition to the eye, it should be in great physical condition to the sense of like working in the ring and stuff like that with the conditioning and cardio and whatever. So there's that. Then two, study your ass off. Like I spend more time studying wrestling than I do anything else. And then three would probably be don't like this shit's real frustrating. Like it's super frustrating to go years and all that stuff with getting the same bookings and stuff like that. Don't get too comfortable and try your hardest. I mean, I almost quit at the beginning of this year. Like, literally, I was on my way to a show and almost turned the car around and threw wrestling out the window. Had a whole meltdown about it with my very supportive girlfriend in the passenger seat, and almost just said, "Fuck it, I'm not wrestling anymore." And so, don't do that when that time comes, unless of course you like really want to. But if that's not what you really want to do, is quit and give up, then figure out what you do really want to do, and then go all in on it.
It's great advice. Great advice. So yeah, Queen, do you have anything else like you want to ask before?
It's got to be about food, obviously. There's only one way to end this podcast.
I mean,
Because you took Kyle's
It has-
place, so I wasn't sure if you had any questions, but
no, I mean all the stuff that I would have asked you already did, but to end it off with the food question. Listen, this is a hotly debated topic, and I feel like we need to know your response. Pineapple on pizza. Yay
I'm
or
all
nay?
about it. I'm
Yes.
all about it.
See? I said we would be best friends. I was not wrong.
I'm all about it.
well, hopefully, like me and Queen can actually, because Queen lives in Connecticut and I live in New York, so hopefully, when you come back over around here, that me and Queen can come together and come meet you. So
Yes,
tacos.
come together. We'll get a pineapple pizza and some tacos.
Yes,
No one says we can't do both. No one
like
says
a
we can't do
plan.
both.
No judgment. We will have what we want.
Yes, absolutely. No, this has been absolutely amazing. Like, it's so humbling. Again, like, I really appreciate you did this for us. I love hearing stories from all wrestlers. It's just everybody's got a different story, and I always preach this: support indie wrestling, guys. Like, really.
Thank you very
Oh my God. So yeah, so keep an eye. Make sure you go follow Alex Zayne. Go follow Queen of Any. Queen, thank you again as well.
Got
Yes,
you,
thank you
girl.
thank you all very much for everything that you do, because I see wrestlers too. Side note, I see wrestlers out there like, oh, I'm not doing your podcast type of thing. Like they say that sort of thing on Twitter. And I'm like, you are a goofball because I have a marketing background. That's where I came from before wrestling, was doing marketing and whatever. And in a sense of just being everywhere all the time, that's what you got to do out here. So wrestlers, that's another tip, pro tip. Wrestlers do the podcasts, and shout out to the podcast doers out here. They're working their asses off to get you over. So if you don't appreciate that, then you know what? Go somewhere and do something, idiot.
So cool, man. So cool.
We love you. Guys, go check him out. You're not going to be disappointed. I promise it. That's from the Queen of the Indies over here, since I live in the indie scene. So, hi, like, this is like one of my favorite interviews, even though we had some hiccups in the beginning. So, I'm sorry. But again, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Share the stream. And make sure if you go see Alex Zayne, go bring him some tacos, okay?
Absolutely do that. Unless they're going to be soggy. If you ordered them more than 15 minutes ago, then don't bring me that hard shell shit, okay? I'll know. I'll know that you didn't listen. I will know.
Thanks, guys. We love you.
All right, thank you.